hello. Happy Sunday and welcome
Yes.
to the DMV's Vibe podcast. I am Miss Pink.
And I'm Fairly Swagger.
Okay, y'all. We gonna jump in real quick. So we did a Father's Day episode. Was a couple days late.
Yes.
We had some minor technical difficulties because we clearly weren't in the studio. But it was still a good episode. Shout out to Mr. Shay. He tapped in with us. He talked about fatherhood a little bit. And also, if you have not went to his website, it's sofamouscollection.com. So, as we approach the holiday, I'm super excited. It's a 3-day weekend, even though I've been having a couple of 3-day weekends over the past couple weeks. But we're at the end of June. We're 6 months
Definitely.
through 2021, and I feel like it went by kind of fast.
It did.
Everything's out. Clearly, outside is open because traffic's been trash,
Very. Okay.
super trash. But I did want to go over it because I didn't go over earlier this month about this month the couple of awareness things that they have. So it's PTSD Awareness Month, Alzheimer's Awareness Month, Men's Health Month, and we did not do Men's Health Week. And so I said I was going to backtrack a little bit, cover over not just the mental health, but some physical health stuff. And it's also Pride Month. Tomorrow's actually Pride Day. It's 28th, marks the significance in it is the history of the first parade that happened in New York for the LGBTQ community. I think I said all the letters. I don't know.
Isn't it a plus now? It's the
Yeah, it's a plus now
LGBTQ
because
plus.
I actually seen a chart, and the chart, first of all, it had like double letters, it's like some A's and everything. Was
Yeah,
in it.
it's a lot.
So
It's
it's
a
a
lot
lot of
more
Yeah, it's a lot that
things
falls
that's a
under
part
the
of it.
spectrum, and helping everybody in that community be able to identify where they want. Um, they had a lot of events, and I even saw they painted downtown, down 17th Street. It's real colorful right now. I don't know if it's gonna stay like that.
I haven't been in the city in a while, so
Yeah. DC is definitely always trying to incorporate everything. Um, but I said I was going to go over like a lot of health facts, especially when it pertains to black men. And getting tested is highly important, not just for men, for everybody. But I did want to talk about as we get older, approach the age, for us women, we have to get our tatas checked. Men, you need to get your prostate checked. Prostate cancer is like the number one cancer that men can get.
mhm.
And I'm gonna go over a couple statistics real quick before I go into like the symptoms and what to look for. Um, 1 in 8 men are diagnosed in their lifetime. 6 out of 10 of them are 65 and older, and there are 248,530 new cases yearly. Um, Even though it says 65 and older, you can get it younger than that. My grandfather was not 65 when he found out that he was diagnosed with it. Luckily, they found it early. So he went through his radiation and chemotherapy, and it is in remission. Thank God it's been in remission now for like, I want to say 5 years. But it was a long process. He had to have surgery. And along with battling that, you're, especially you single men who don't know how to cook, I'm going to need y'all to get better diets because that's definitely something that plays a factor in your health.
Black men, especially, because black men do not like to go to the doctor. They don't like to get their regular checkups, and that's why we are number one in everything,
Honestly.
because we don't like to go to the doctor. We don't like to get our checkups. We don't like to take care of ourselves. I feel like if you paying all this money a month in health insurance, you need to use it.
Yeah.
I go get my physicals every year, even though I don't have to, but I still get a physical every year. I get tested every year. Also, because, I ain't out here just humping anything and everything that's moving. So I always do what I'm supposed to do. And I think everybody definitely should really take your health seriously, especially in the black community. Like, we really need to take our health seriously.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go over. Look, I wrote so many facts down when I was researching this because I feel like I have several friends that act like they just so scared to get tested. Are you scared of knowing like your status? Because first of all, today is National HIV Testing Day. If y'all didn't know, I posted it on my page. Super important day. You need to know your status, especially if you are sexually active. Especially if you what I like to call a friendly fella. That means that y'all just be having multiple partners in a short period of time.
But I think that's what people are scared because they know that they out here living reckless. But it's like
Yeah.
you need to know because you put
Other people
other
at
people at
risk.
risk, and that's not fair to them.
Yeah, so I looked up a lot of facts on the CDC.gov website, and I'm gonna give y'all the top 10 killers of the African American men: heart disease, cancer, homicide. Clearly, we know because it's been a rough year in the city. Stroke, diabetes, chronic lower respiratory diseases, kidney disease, and what they call accidental injuries. So, like that's like car crashes and things that are out of our control. But and that was the stats from 2017. So they haven't even gone over like the last 3 years, and a lot of it has changed. So many things affect our daily life, and I know sometimes y'all don't have a safe place to go or to talk to somebody because we always go over mental health. But mental health and physical health go hand in hand. So if you can't or don't want to go to the doctor by yourself, I think y'all should be adult enough to do so. But if you need a friend to go with you, ask
A
somebody to go
buddy.
with you. Please, just please get tested. Um,
Every time I go, I'm like, yeah, go on, test me for everything. Everything.
yeah, because you can go to your primary care provider. And if you don't have a primary care provider, there are clinics throughout the DMV that test
Definitely.
for STDs and for HIV. I don't care where you go, just please get tested. Know your status. It's a lot of shisty people out here,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not gonna tell you. There's some people who once they get diagnosed with something serious, like whether they're HIV or they have an STD that they cannot get rid of. He said, "Who got that monkey saw?" Child says he don't start today. But it's some people who once they get diagnosed, they fall so deep in depression that it becomes something that they don't want to talk about because they're scared or they're on a war path
Right.
of
Now they're
contaminating other
angry.
people. Right.
So now they going to give it to anybody and anybody that they can do that to. And yeah, you.
It's trifling.
Whew,
I've seen it. They've posted people in like major cities like Baltimore, who is the guy going around just giving them STDs to everybody, and I'm just like, please stop meeting people on these dating apps and hooking up with them because you never know what they got. And condoms don't protect everything.
they definitely don't.
Some of the symptoms and risk factors for prostate cancer. Um, the symptoms are slow or weak urination stream, blood in the urine or semen, trouble getting an erection, or pain between the hips, the spine, the chest, or weakness in the leg or feet. Um, that's one thing that, in fact, I had two grandfathers who were diagnosed with prostate cancer, and the survival rate is very high. So please stop being scared to get tested. The earlier you find out, the better, because like again, it is beatable. You just need to make sure that you, one, if you do get tested and you find out that you have cancer, please seek therapy, because trying to hold that on your own is a lot, and it's a lot to process. So not only do therapy for yourself, but include your family, because sometimes your family doesn't know how to handle that kind of news either. So it's very important that y'all create a plan and go through therapy so that everybody will be able to continue to function on a somewhat normal base. The other thing I wanted to talk about was PTSD. So, as someone who's been through PTSD, I know a lot of people think that it's just people who were in the military, but it can actually be more than that. It could be any life-threatening
I was
event.
gonna say anything traumatic, because you have to remember the word is post traumatic. So
Right.
anything that is traumatic to a person, and never what's the word I want to use? Don't make someone's trauma seem small, because
Right.
everybody doesn't handle everything the same way. So something that may be traumatic to me may not be traumatic to Pink, So, but don't judge that person because it's not something that would be traumatic to that person. But people deal with trauma on a regular basis, and some people don't even realize they have PTSD.
Right. And it has no age limit. Um, I know it affects a lot of kids who might have ended up in the system. Um,
I see this with the kids that I
yeah, there are
that
a
I
lot
work
of
with.
kids who are suffering from PTSD, and you can tell that they never received therapy, or their parents don't believe that they've done anything traumatic to them. And know that sometimes parents can cause trauma, not realizing that it's a trauma to a child. So don't feel guilty about it. If you put your child in that situation, just please get them help.
And
Um,
listen, if they're telling you that something that you did or something that you said was traumatic, and you definitely see that a lot in our parents' generation, in our grandparents' generation. Like,
mhm.
they don't realize, like, some, because scare tactics
Oh,
were used a lot to keep you from doing things or deter you from doing things. So it caused you to have a traumatic response or some type of trauma and made you scared to do something. That's a traumatic response, because now you scared to death because they've used this scare tactic on you. But you definitely see that in the older generations. Just had this
yeah.
conversation with my mama the other day.
So that was one of the things that I saw. I forgot. I think I seen the post on like um, Facebook. So especially with people who have children that are going into high school, um, we always ask, are you creating a safe space for your child to be able to talk to you about anything and everything? Um, Creating that safe space also means that when they come and tell you something, you can't overreact, because that first initial reaction will be the basis of how they think you're going to take all information.
And that can cause the trauma,
Right.
because your response now created a traumatic incident for them. So now it's like, okay, well, then I'm never going to tell my mom or dad this ever again, because I don't want that same reaction. Now I'm scared, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case may be.
Um, and I'm going to go over the statistics for the PTSD. 15% of female teens versus 14% boy teens experience at least one trauma by the time they've reached 18. But 3 to 15% of those girls will end up having PTSD throughout their life, and opposed to 1 to 6% of boys. I only think that the statistic is like that is because a lot of males don't get treated or seen. They harvest that whatever
That
traumatic experience.
that is definitely true amongst, especially working in sped, because most kids will that are in SPED, especially those that have a IEP that is other health impaired, emotional disability, anything like that, they have therapy. Therapy is written in their IEP. They have a certain amount of therapeutic hours, and I've seen just personally working with some of the students that some of the male students won't go to therapy, or they'll go and they won't be open and they won't be honest, and so they can't so the therapist can't do their job because the student or the child isn't willing to be open and willing to talk about whatever trauma or whatever experiences. So I definitely can see that, especially with the boys. Now I've seen the young ladies seem to be more open. Um, some of them, because I've had students that just they had a therapist and they just refused to talk to their therapist. But and those were girls. But you do have a lot of females, young girls, that they're more open to talk to their therapist, especially because they feel like in a sense it's not someone that's in their like their family. So you definitely see that, but I can see those statistics just from working with the population that I work with and seeing things on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, when I worked at the rec, we had started a program that I don't know if it still continued after I left, but it was geared towards the girls because, plus, I'm a female, and but I just saw how their friend dynamics were and things that they were experiencing, going through, and stuff that at I worked at it was connected to a school. I think the school went up to 8th grade. Those were things that I never had to deal with until I was probably like in high school.
That definitely will say that when we talk about traumas, especially with this generation, the things that they deal with are a lot different because they deal with them younger and younger. And also because they have more access to different things. Like growing up, we didn't have social media. There was no Instagram. When we got Facebook, most of us were in
high school or
or
12th grade.
when Facebook came out, it was just for college, and when it launched, I think it launched in like 2006. So we were still in high school, and then it was invitation only, and they had just opened it up to regular people, but you had to be invited onto that platform. And so now these kids, they're on, like, I've only been on TikTok for like 3 weeks, and it's a lot of stuff on there. I'm like, little kids are on this, like, and this is the stuff that they're seeing. Now I don't have a lot of too much inappropriate stuff because of what my interests are, but these kids, what they see is traumatic. Like, even for me as a grown person, I don't like when people send me videos of like people being shot up and stuff like that, or like I've had people send me videos of a suicide and somebody blew their whole head off and they recorded it, and like that is something that I will always remember because I saw it, so I try not to, as an adult, put those images in my head because I don't remember that stuff. So imagine what these kids are looking at, and it's causing traumatic responses or whatever, right? And that's different. You do Zumba, so a lot of older people, we are on social media as business, but you still come across a lot of different things, and these kids, they're not on it for business purposes. They're on it, right, to be with their friends and like things like that. So for me, as a 32-year-old woman, I'm just like, certain things because I just feel like it's traumatic. Like, I refuse to watch the George Floyd video. I have never watched it, and I never will.
I've never watched it all the way through, but I have seen like probably the first half of the video, but I never watched.
I've only seen whatever little clips they shown on TV.
The worst video I probably ever watched when it comes to like the police killings probably had to be Philandro Castro. That was probably like, the most That video right there was traumatic.
Yeah,
I
that was
don't
a lot. I
even
saw that.
know. It's certain things that I just feel like should not be public access because it's no control over who's going to look at it. And when we live in a world where everything is so accessible to children, we want children to be innocent until they reach a certain age. It's like certain things just need to have like a barrier. And of course, you know, a child, when it's hard to regulate certain things online because a child can lie about their age.
These kids smart, but but this generation is smart. Like they
Yeah.
know how to get around all of that.
Um, so the post that I had found on Facebook, I'm gonna go over it briefly because I feel like it kind of ties into the PTSD. This is supposed to be facts or information, tidbits, advice for people who have children going into high school. It says nobody gets through high school unscathed, so nothing off limits. Make nothing off limits in your daily discussions. That means sex, weed, STDs, protection, drinking, shoplifting, consent, sneaking out, parties, racism, bullying, or heartbreak. Even though it may feel like an uncomfortable situation, have those discussions. Forcing your child to be good doesn't mean you have a good child. It probably is going to make them become a sneaky child. Set clear boundaries, let them make mistakes so they can learn how to be accountable for their actions and face consequences. That is like a super big thing because the people who have parents that are quote unquote strict or don't allow them slow freedom are generally the people who have kids that they sneak out and go to parties or they lie and say where they're going. Something traumatic generally happens to them, but they're so scared to tell their parents that they don't find out till years later. Um, and it's not helping them teach them accountability.
I've literally have. I'm telling you, I've seen this working in the school system and being in public and private. You see some interesting things, and I have seen the pressures that parents will put on a child. First of all, your child has an IEP, okay? And your child has, not for academics because they're smart, but they're autistic. So, and they're Asperger's, so they're very, very high functioning, but they just have the social, they lack the social skills part and they lack the emotional regulation part. And so, the one thing that I would see is I've seen parents be like, you have to get this or you have to do this, or and now if anybody's familiar with children with autism, they're very like pinpoint, like on it, you know what I'm saying, routine, everything. So I literally had a student that if he got a certain grade on the test, like it sent him into a behavior because he would think about because it was what his parents were telling him, because his parents had these high expectations and wanted him to be able to do all these things. And it's just like, it's okay to not get an A, because I'm not going to say fail, but I mean, it is okay to fail, but in that sense, okay, you got a B on the test instead of an A. It's not the end of the world. It's still a passing grade. You know, you still completed the assignment. Like, things like that. But I've seen like a child literally go into a full-blown behavior because it's about, what is my mom gonna think, what is my dad gonna think, you know what I'm saying, instead of being like, okay, it's okay. And some of these parents put such unrealistic expectations on on their children, and so these people grow up to be these adults that have a hard time with failure and a hard time with not being in a certain place at a certain time, like,
and it'll send them into all different kind of spirals of depression, and um, it could lead to suicide. It could lead to them committing a homicide and then jail time and then there's no rehabilitation because you have parents. I'm not going to say that failed them, but didn't pay attention and weren't choosing their words wisely.
Mhm.
Because I don't think sometimes people understand how words can truly affect people. I watched. I know y'all. I don't know if y'all follow Pretty D or well, he don't go by Pretty D no more. Yappa, the rapper from New Impressions. He did a video. The intent was for it to be a joke, but it was like fat shaming, and he released an apology earlier today. I think the video was really like yesterday, day before yesterday. But he said somebody approached him at a show yesterday and just said basically how what we may see some things as a joke, other people may take it to be hurtful, and we don't know where everybody's mental state is. Um, I think that is important as far as when it comes to not only the black community but on social media in general. A lot of things that we joke about really shouldn't even be laughable. But I think because we kind of desensitize
That's what it
everything
is. We're
on
we're
social media,
desensitized from
everybody's
so
on
much.
different levels when it comes to what we think is funny or things laughing at things that probably we shouldn't laugh at. Um, but I think the greatest thing about his apology is that he took accountability for. I didn't. I wasn't in that mind state of thinking about how someone else would take it because I was
Mhm.
only taking it as or presenting it as a joke. Um, so other things for tips for children, for parents that have children in high school is, as I stated earlier, you only get one shot at a first reaction, so don't overreact. You can always go back and be a little firmer, but you can never take back harsh words said in anger. Apologize every single time. And parents, it is nothing wrong with apologizing to your children when you are wrong. Um, when they mess up, don't attack their character. They're not a slut, a thief, a compulsive liar, lazy, or stupid. They're good people making bad decisions. Keep your focus on their actions and make better choices for their future. We just talked about the grades. There's nothing wrong with the C. Don't make perfection your standard for them. It's easy to forget how much we wanted to fit in back in school. The security you have with who you are handling peer pressure has taken you 30 plus years to develop. They want to be liked by their peers too and will be influenced by them. Just help them to see which one truly cares about their well being. That's a super big thing when it comes to, I want to say children of all ages.
They
I
don't
don't
think
think
for
I don't
themselves.
think they really like make a big deal of it when they're like in kindergarten, but I would say from like fourth grade up, being liked by others is something that I feel like only children really take personally. Because once we got into adult, we didn't give a fuck who fucking liked us or
Well,
not.
you still have some adults that are like that though. Like
Yeah,
you
who
still
worry about
have
that
some
perception.
adults that really care what people have to say. Like I literally have had this conversation with my students before. I have asked them, "What is it about being liked so much?" Like it's nothing wrong with not being everybody's cup of tea, okay? And literally the one thing that my mom always taught me is you are going to be miserable if you live your life worrying about what others have to say about you. Okay? And so I tell my students all the time, why do y'all care so much? Why do you care so much about what people say about your hair or how you look or the person that you date or whatever? Why do you care? Because if you live your life so busy trying to not have this certain image or whatever the case may be, like seriously, you're going to be miserable. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to be miserable. When I tell y'all I don't care, I I don't care. I've literally had friends like, well, I don't think you should say that or you shouldn't post that on social media.
Oh, what?
I, I
I
don't
don't
care.
care.
Like I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
I live life for me and only me. So I don't care what people think. And I've pretty much been like that all my life. I walk to the beat of my own drum. Like, that's one thing. I have no problem going places by myself. I am okay with that. And actually, as I've gotten older, I really enjoyed being by myself. So,
yeah, I haven't gotten to that level yet.
yeah, like,
There's certain things that I do by myself, but
yeah, I'm just at the place now where
I like adventures with other people, so I can talk shit about something that I've seen.
like, I really like moving by myself. Like this weekend, yeah, I've been around people, but I've been moving by myself, which means nobody else came with me. I went by myself. I left by myself.
Yeah.
And
I
great.
don't necessarily need you to be in the same car as me when we go. Because when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you know. But this, and it's nothing wrong with having friends. There's nothing wrong with having a tribe. Like, it's great. But it's almost like when we look at this generation, they have a hard time we're missing individuality. I think that's what we're missing a lot. And yes, people are different and everybody is their own person, but we're missing that aspect of just being able to be yourself, being comfortable with yourself, and again, not worrying about what other people think, because you definitely see in high school, it's wanting to be liked. And it's like, everybody's not gonna like you, so it's okay. You're not gonna vibe with everyone.
I know. I said this shit a couple months ago. I made a whole video about it. Look, it's okay to not be. I am not everybody's cup of tea. Hennessy, tequila, whatever.
I'm okay with that.
It's your preference. It don't mean that we got a problem. It just means, hey, our vibes just don't go together.
It doesn't mesh, and that's okay. And I think that's what we see is an issue now, because everybody wants to do the same things. Everybody wants to be in a clique, and everybody wants to be like, you don't have to be in a clique. You can hang with everybody if you want to.
That was me in high school. I was cool with everybody. I wasn't in no clique, no group or nothing, but I knew a bunch of y'all that had the honey groups and everything.
Yeah, I knew all y'all, but I wasn't in no clique. But I knew who y'all were.
I wasn't in it, but if y'all reckon I probably gonna be fighting too, just because that was me back then. Any opportunity to fight was cool with me. But I think that's very true. Like, a lot of people are just focused on, well, why don't so and so like me? Like, man, that's their personal choice.
And you even see it in Hollywood and with celebrities, because you see some of the stuff that they post, and it's just like, why do you care if this singer doesn't like you, or this singer doesn't want to do a song with you, or like, why does that matter? You still have your millions. You still doing whatever you need to. Like, you still see this.
Some of them, you can tell, are really like lonely in their success.
Now, I've said this before, and I've been called a hater, but Lizzo is one of them.
I believe so.
Lizzo is not happy.
She definitely looks like she fakes her happiness.
She's so up and down. And granted, we all have our days, but there's nothing. Let me look in the camera and say this. There is nothing that is going to make me turn this phone on, flip it around, and cry and record myself and then post it. Like,
oh my God.
Nothing. Nothing.
I will eat a square of carpet
Nothing.
Before
it's going to make me ugly cry with my phone in my hand, with the camera turned around on my face.
Only time I ugly cried on my phone, I must have been arguing with an ex or something. That's the only time I ugly cried. But as far as me posting it on social media,
yeah, like I'm not recording myself. And granted, like, Lizzo's a great artist, and I'm not taking away from that, but to me, it just feels like she's just not. It's 1 minute she's crying, then the next minute she's clapping her cheeks. So that's where I'm a little confused. Like that, I mean,
it's okay to go and get help. Like, another person that scares the hell out of me, and that like physically scares me. Just I be really worried about their mental. Summer Walker.
Yeah, she's up and
Summer
down
Walker
too.
Is like goes from one extreme to the other, and it's like, bro, like, get some therapy, please.
Yes.
Because you are too talented to be going through certain shit.
And these are the people that kids look up to, and they see these things. And so it's just like, no, don't turn your phone around and like snot ugly cry. Go talk to somebody. Like,
Yeah, I know.
now I may have ugly cried talking to somebody on the phone. They couldn't see the ugly cry, but they knew I was ugly crying.
Right.
Now I'll do that, but I'm just, because to me it's just like,
Because
is
when
it
they
really
start-
that bad?
When they start asking, this is my thing. So you post a video like that, you already know it's going to be a million people asking you, what's wrong?
And then you
So
don't
is
want to
that
tell
the
nobody.
shit that you want people to have sympathy. You want to see who cares, because some of them people ain't gonna fucking care still. They just want.
They just
want to
be nosy, right? They just want to be nosy. So it's like you're still opening yourself up to not even feel the comfort that you want, because some people are literally being nosy. They just, well, I don't really care. I just want to know why you. Oh, that's why you crying. Oh, okay. And then they go carry on with their day. They not gonna check in on you and be like, oh, are you okay? No, they just wanted to know. Oh, you sitting over here crying over whatever you're crying over, and it's just, it's weird. Like this.
Yeah, I think
It's
that
different.
there should be like therapists for the industry to help them when they're transitioning to new levels of fame that they're not used to, because it's a lot of mental things to go behind that. Not only just, not your physical time, but it can be draining.
Right, and then you not knowing if people are really there for you, or they're really there for your success, or just wanting to mooch off of whatever you have. So that again plays a lot on your mental, and then it does cause them to still feel alone. These people have a million people around them, but they still feel lonely.
Man.
And you see that even now with some kids and stuff. Like, they may have an amazing family unit, but it's something going on with them internally to where they still feel like they're by themselves, and they still feel like they don't have anybody.
Yeah. Now, whether I agree with how Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade are raising Zaya, whether I agree with it, because I kind of feel like it's their personal business. They ain't really have to tell the whole world that. But I think that they really created like a safe space for him to be able to explore whatever was going on inside of him. And I think that was really important. So even though we all have our opinions of what it may look like, until you have a child that is struggling to identify with who they are, I would just say don't be raising your nose, looking at them people.
I be minding my
sideways.
business. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Because I saw so many people like attacking the Wade family for how
Literally,
they dealt
people
with
have
it.
unfollowed him on social media.
And I'm like, so what was he supposed
I-
to like? Stop loving his child, or
I never followed him in the first place.
beat
so.
it out of him? Like, I don't understand. Like, some of y'all, I think y'all would get hit with like super reality checks if your child was to end up exploring thoughts like that, or decide that they were going to be gay.
I'm just waiting for the little girl to really start talking.
Oh, she gonna have some words for them.
Okay, because them facial expressions.
She might got Blue Ivy beat.
She's an old auntie, and I'm just waiting for her to be like, let me tell y'all.
She don't be looking like she with none of the shit. She don't want to share. She be mean mugging. Like, bro, what makes you happy? That's what I be wanting to say on Facebook. What makes you happy, little girl?
Listen, when Gabby posted that video the other day, she was like, "It's not a crisis." Okay, sis. She was letting you know, Gabby, it's not a crisis.
Man. But children do have like wonderful little personalities. It's so much fun to watch them grow into it.
Yes. Junie is my favorite.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for Iman and Tiana's show to come on.
Yes. I seen a snippet of it, and
I watched a little 30-minute dog. I
hilarious.
love Junie. Junie.
She's your wife.
Hey, mom and dad with y'all big heads. Like, I love.
She definitely just seems like she's very outgoing, like how Tiana.
I was about to say
comes about.
she's her mother.
Yes,
Definitely.
And they look just the fuck alike.
And then mixed with Iman's cancer ass. Found out he's a cancer.
I don't know, but I see he's been dipping and dabbling a little bit everywhere in the entertainment industry.
And I love how she supports him. I definitely love. She like, well, if I'm gonna be we gonna be over here with basketball today. Then we'll be in the studio tomorrow.
Yeah,
Like,
cause he's on the song with her. What's the name of the song? What's Up, Love? I think something like that. And then I seen today's episode of The Shy came on demand already. He was on there too. He was on there. I was like, all right. He even got in acting,
yeah,
music.
Iman out here doing a lot of different things. Shout out to Iman and Tiana.
Yeah, the Schumperts.
Okay.
Damn, we did get sidetracked.
We did. Sorry, y'all.
We gonna pull it back. So one of the last several things on this list were suicide is real, and they have to know you will help them get through anything that life brings. Continue to tell them over and over that there's nothing so bad we can't get through as a family. That's really important, especially if you have a young girl that may have ended up pregnant at a young age. Please don't be trying to kick them out.
I never understood that. Like, now her and the baby homeless. Like, make it make sense.
No, I've seen people kick their daughters out and then try and get custody of the grandbaby. You might as well let both of them stay. What the hell is wrong with you? You made you starting over. It's like, I don't understand people's reasoning for that. Like, make sure they understand consent in every situation. Highly important. Highly important in high school settings. Because there are people who have been accused of things that never happened because some people are scared of what their parent is going to say.
Yep.
The last thing was, your children's behavior is not a reflection of how good or bad a parent you are. I somewhat agree with that because of my mom always taught me to do the right thing, but in high school sometimes, we're coming into our own and really getting to know ourselves. Sometimes we don't make the best choices, right. But it's not a reflection of my household.
And it's not, because when you think about siblings and you think about people that grew up in the same household, one sibling turns out one way and another sibling turns out another way. But that doesn't mean that you were a terrible parent. But these children, they have free will. They have a mind of their own. And no matter how many times you tell them not to touch the stove because it's hot, it's going to be that one that's going to touch the stove. Like, it don't matter. And so, but also you have to give your children a chance to come into their own. Yes. And don't, I've seen this in families because I've seen it in my own. And don't compare one child to the other.
Talk about it all the time.
You see this a lot, even when you have some reality stars that have talked about this. You see this because it's always like, well, your brother did this or your sister did this. Okay, but they're not their sister or their brother, so
exactly.
Don't do that. And that causes, other issues, because that can weigh on your mental too, because then it can be like, well, I'm not good enough because my brother is the doctor, but I work at Target. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Some people don't want to live in their sibling's shadow. Nor do they want to live in their parents' shadow.
And you see that sometimes in families where it's like, well, so-and-so is doing this. Why aren't you doing this? Or, everybody, your grandfather went to this school and so did your daddy and your brother. And now it's like, you got to go to that school. Like, allow people to be their own person. And we, in some cases, you don't see that all the time. And it definitely, like, honestly, growing up, I used to hate so I have a cousin, we're a year apart, and I used to hate when my grandma used to, like, buy us the same thing, but she would buy us the 2 different colors. And I'd just be like, but that's not my sister. Well, like, we're not siblings. Like, it really used to annoy me. Like, it annoyed me so much as a kid, because I'd be like, we literally would have the same stuff all the time because people did that. And I'm like, but why? Like, just don't buy me anything. Like, that's how I used to feel. Just like, really? And I love my cousin to death because we both had brothers, so we didn't have sisters. But it's like, don't do that. Like, come on, Katie May, God rest her soul. But she used to do that all the time. Like, for real, she would buy us underwear for Christmas. I would get the pink ones, she would get the blue ones. It'd be stuff like that. Like, it irritated me. So it's just like, please just allow people to be their own person. Please, please, don't compare me to nobody else. Or
That's another thing that plays with your children's mental.
it does, cause then they feel like they're not good enough.
Or like sometimes parents have conversation they don't even know that children are listening. Like I've seen it where parents will be talking about what their friends' kids are doing and where they're at in life, and it kind of sounds like you're downplaying everything that your child is doing. When most times, between the ages of I want to say 18 and 24, um, they're learning how to be independent and not depend on you for anything. So trying to compare them, now you put more pressure on your child, who's now trying to go into adulthood and figure things out for themselves, but you put more pressure on them to think that they have to have it all together by a certain age.
Listen, I'm 32 and I don't have it all together. Okay, we getting there though. But
Look, ain't none of if you wasn't born into money, ain't none of us have it all together.
listen,
Until
getting it out the mud.
you got your own path. I don't care what your brother, sister, mama, daddy did. You got your own path. Um,
And you don't even know what some of these people had to do to get
ooh,
where they
preach
are.
about it.
So that's another thing. Like, growing up, looking at some of the adults that I love was like, oh yeah, they doing this, they doing that, like y'all. But when I got older and realized, like,
they had to do.
wait a minute, like, oh,
Tell
you not who I thought you were. Never mind.
Right.
Never mind. I'll take it back.
I'm gonna tell you what. Like I tell you what, I'm not about that life. So
Yeah. I'm a dude. Yeah.
that,
Never mind.
that's like be careful. Be careful what you wish for. Um, careful what you wish for. Be careful what you pray about. Pray, manifest what you want, not what you seen somebody else have or do. Because as soon as you start saying I want to be like, and it starts manifesting. When you start having them moments that them other people ain't talk about that they had to go through, tell you everybody ain't built for it.
Not
Everybody
at
ain't built
all.
because while I might want to be famous like Steve Harvey with all these different revenues and income, I don't ever want to be homeless living out of a car ever again.
At all.
Not at this time.
Some of the stuff, like, a lot of people always talk about they want to be famous and they want to be rich and all that. That's just never been me. Like, because I don't want the headaches that come with the fame. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to. I don't like people like that. So like I have my days where it's like, oh, I'll be out and about, hey, social. Then I don't want to be bothered. And when you are in the spotlight, like, that's not how they work. Like, cause I be the ones that be want to snatch the camera out the paparazzi man hand. So,
Fuck snatching the camera, bitch. We finna break this.
so it's just like the
You
fame
or
is.
the camera.
I don't want that. Like, I don't want everybody in my business. I don't want everybody in my business now. So I
I'll
don't
take the money, but
yeah.
you can keep the fame.
That's shout out to these celebrities.
If y'all ain't realized yet, half the time I don't even like being in the camera. Cause this is me preparing myself. Whenever it's my time, I'm still not gonna want to be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Like, just take my voice.
Okay, voiceovers.
I looked into that. I'm gonna get there, but we're gonna take a quick break. I do want to go over the two businesses that I said I was gonna do promo for this week. Well, the first one being if you're looking for a mobile massage therapist, you can hit Sway's Healing Hands on Instagram. That is Sway, SWAYS, Healing Hands. There's no space in between any of that, but there is an underscore at the end. as well as the other business is Pink Danity Beauty. Um, Sis is amazing. She's a licensed makeup artist, a wax specialist, and a lash tech. You can find her on Instagram at pinkdanity_beauty. She has a email address on her page that you can do for all the bookings. Make sure you hit her up. I believe she has jumped back to working. I know she recently had a baby a few months ago. But yes, Pink Danity Beauty. That is PINKDANITY_beauty. I was gonna go over like hot music that I put in my rotation this week, because I didn't really find like songs that I wanted to really play this week on the radio. But this is one song that I feel is kind of fitting for the topic. So if you see us shut down Instagram real quick, that just means that we ain't trying to deal with no copyrights.
Yeah, so if we shut down, we gonna come back after the break because they be doing the most.
Yeah, the song I'm gonna play is called "Giving Up" by Young and Ace.
Life betrayal 2 times. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, like on this bitch I went a whole different way. But inspect the unexpected. I can't seem to tell no lie, I'm just way too real. My dog has stabbed me in my back, I played it for what it is. Ex-bitch for my brother behind my back, and I ain't know how to feel. To my heart and my chest, and then I buried right now, I'm trying to heal. I've been giving up, ooh, oh. Right now love just ain't been enough, ooh, oh. I grab my things, I run away, abandoned child, no one to stay. Embrace my pain, I've been searching for a change. Take my soul, erase my name. Bleed my kindness for a game. Walking on a railroad track, trying to see where my angels at. And I ain't mean to really do that, but the devil just in my way. Home won't love is way too fake. Had to run a nigga down with the K. Had to sleep outside where he stay. Before he died, know he had to see my face. I'm too lenient. I believe in love, I just ain't seen it yet. I've been giving up, ooh, oh. Right now love just ain't been enough, ooh, oh. I grab my things, I run away. Abandoned child, no one to stay. How long I've been all on my own? Lights off and nobody is home. Needed help, nobody answer the phone, yeah. I ain't there when everything going wrong, yeah. In the trap, everything Snow White. I'ma be in this bitch all night. Let the plug and boarded the flight. Count money, been counting all night. I was locked in hell with the devil, ain't nobody coming to see me. They don't promote me when I do good, but they put my bad all on the TV. Yeah. Kick a bitch out with my kicks. Hold on, I'm way too lit. 5K, that's all on the fit. Can't even tell you what I spent on my wrist. Yeah, no, ooh, oh. Right now love just ain't been enough, ooh, oh. I grab my things, I run away. Abandoned child, no one to stay. Fuck they tongue. Beep, beep. No kids. Broke ass niggas. Hey, I ain't tryna do no bluffing shit. Just don't let me find you. Nah, for real. Don't let me find you. Bitch ass niggas. I put on that mask when I want work. I'm trying to catch me a body. You know I'm having my way with the rocks. I keep a shooter beside me. If you with the shit, nigga, show me you vibe. I still go kill, I don't think about shining. Homicide on me, I gotta stay silent. I show my uncle the dope and he tried. Pull up on this block and we bombing the spot. Make everybody think it's a terrorist attack. I'm clutching the Glock with the switch on the back. I'm living for real and you living a lie. He say he a shooter, but I know it's cat. I can't go back to me selling no crack. I don't talk on my phone cause it probably be tapped. Wanna get off the block, but I'm way too attached. I'm missing Mari, I'm reminiscing. I sell dope, so I wake up click. If I'm telling you some nigga, you better listen. You bitch Bitch ass rappers ain't none like Savage. Get on the beat, nigga, know I'm a trash. He want to smoke, we gon' hit him with cancer. I see a op, I'ma burn him to ashes. I fell in love with that street shit. I call her phone and she come over, eat dick. Selling fit pills, got the whole block seasick. Sock in my pocket, I go out and spend shit. Spin tryna kill, we don't care about the innocent. Fake ass plug niggas really be middlemen. Not spend no one, we tryna get it in. You niggas workers, you niggas slaving. Yeah, I can pop my shit cause I made it. I got some big boy rocks, I'm saving. I got him killed cause he wasn't behaving. Name whole weight, but I'm not gon' save it. Keep me a big boy Glock and I'm paint. Sticking with Chuck, lot of my niggas change. Giving out trust, what the fuck was I think? Whip out my gun when I'm mad, I blank out. I killed the op and I didn't even think about it. When we in Cali, them bags get mailed out. You better get this shit before it sell out. Give her some dick and she not tryna leave out. Put the Glock on him, I'ma watch his ass bleed out. Fuck from the back, probably pull a bitch weave out. Don't get in your feelings, just let this shit play out. Broke ass ops, I be watching them fall off. I'ma be up for a while, I'm a big dog. You don't wanna get a nigga like me ticked off. If they on the map, then we knocking the strip off. Talking behind me, you know I'm gon' get lost. I saw my Vic and I couldn't even hit off. I used to hop out, getting my shit off. I don't say shit about my Vic's getting picked. Niggas say it, G, tell him poke out his chest. I'm the type nigga a bitch never met. Stop all the sneak this and give me an act. I'm really rich, I don't need a blue check. These niggas wanna be, don't want no bun with me. You ain't no money, I won't let you come with me. Put a bitch out, ain't no sin, home comfortably. My bitch on the way when I tell her to come to me. I'm not going home till I run up a bonus. I'm on that money, I never be lonely. I cut people off, they quick to be phony. When I was broke, they was quick to disown. Now motherfuckers hope they don't catch the corona. Me, I can rap about shit cause I own it. Them niggas come, I'ma go out like Tony. And I got smoke, so I move around low. Bust on my wrist and I bet they gon' notice. I pulled 3 of that walk and I'm floating. I took his bitch, left his dumb ass holeless. You know these bitches be crawling like roaches. I put the 1 on the 2, that's the dizzy. I'm on the yo with a leg in my glizzy. Bitch ass op niggas scared to get busy. Can't love bitches cause all I'm tricky.
First song I played was Giving Up by Young and Ace. And then I played Broke Ops by No Savage. Young and Ace song, I kind of liked it because I felt like in that song he was like battling depression and the thoughts that people deal with depression. So I wanted to go ahead and play that song. It's a little bit touching. And then No Savage, y'all know, is from the area. So I figured I'd play.
Yeah, then I got hated on by
Um,
Instagram. So
Oh, the song that y'all just heard with the no words, just the music. The song is called Tadow. But if you go on YouTube, search Tadow by Masego, Masego. You will see him and this cool ass white boy with dreads in the studio using all different kind of instruments to make that song. I don't know. I really like it. I be listening to it when I be rolling up. It's become one of my favorites. Okay, but now that we back, we're gonna talk about as I stated earlier, it's National HIV Testing Day. So I figured I'd drop some facts on that. Came from CDC.gov. They have the latest information they have, and the statistics is from 2018. In 2018, there were 37,968 new diagnoses. 69% of them were from gay or bisexual men. 24% were from heterosexuals, and 7% among drug users that use needles or syringes. The most affected population was, of course, African Americans.
Of course.
Um, and then it went a little bit further to break the numbers down, where 9,444 people were from uh, black males who were only dealing with other males. 3,758 were from black heterosexual women. 1,739 black heterosexual men. Um, that's and when we talk about the heterosexuals, I want to say it really that goes back to the statement of please be careful with who y'all deal with,
Definitely.
because it's some people on the down low. Then you have people who just don't want to share their status, or people who just don't get checked, because I feel like they know, but they're not still living in denial.
And that's what it is. A lot of people live in denial, but I definitely tell people to get tested. If especially if you have multiple partners within a year, definitely go those every 6 months. I go once a year because I don't be out here laying it low, spreading the wide. Because if it did happen, I know exactly who to go to if I was to catch anything. But definitely like, and the crazy thing is, y'all, the statistics amongst teenagers
Yes.
that have STDs, especially in this area. I did a lesson, I want to say 2 years ago, with my high schoolers. Because they asked about STDs and HIV
It's
and
real.
stuff because their parents aren't really talking to them about it. All right, cool. I teach health, so therefore, we did a whole lesson. I gave them the difference between an STD and an STI. We went through what was curable, what's not curable, all those different things, and
Some adults who don't know that.
yeah. And we also, I also looked up the statistics in DC because a lot of my students are from DC, and during that time, I want to say that was 2018, 2019. Herpes was very popular amongst 13 to 19. So yes, so definitely talk to your kids. Like I wish. Now I ain't never had nothing, but I wish that my mom and my would have talked to me more about it. Like, because me and my mom just had this conversation the other day because we were watching something. I don't remember what we was watching. I think it was like Dr. Phil or something. And she was they were talking about it was The View, and they were talking about, I don't know if you guys be on TikTok, but on TikTok there's like doctors and nurses that are giving advice, and they're talking about STDs and STIs and vaginal health and all these different things. So the question was, would you allow, or are you comfortable with your child getting advice from TikTok? And so some people was like, oh, that's cool. Then another parent was like, I would rather that my child talks to me, or if they're in school, because some schools do have like a rigorous health course when it comes to sexual health and stuff like that.
Shout out to Miss Mason. I know she passed away from Lower High School, but she definitely was my health teacher in 9th grade, and she definitely gave us photos that had me scared.
Right, and I think that's the thing with it, and because when I had this conversation with my mom, I was saying how when we talk about HIV and other STDs and STIs, it's so taboo because it's like, oh no, oh, you want to know about that? But it's real. Like, it's a reality. Like people are dying from AIDS. People are still dying from AIDS.
Yes.
People are still being infected with HIV, even with the pandemic. And the thing is, they haven't been doing a lot of testing for that because of the pandemic. And so there has been articles that have come out. I think like West Virginia now all of a sudden has a high rate of HIV cases all of a
Probably
sudden.
because it ain't nothing shit else to do. They ran out of shit to do in quarantine.
So definitely check yourself. Even if the world was shut down for a year, some of y'all was still out here sneaky linking. So
Especially you sneaky link people. Even if you're in a relationship, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
And people always get so offended when I say I don't give a fuck. But just because
still get tested.
Just because your partner is only with you, you never know.
Especially with
all I
HIV,
can say.
especially with HIV and AIDS. I've had family members die of AIDS. I've had family members that were HIV positive. Watching someone die of AIDS is
Hard.
It's hard because I literally watched somebody that was strong and healthy like wither away to nothing and just die. But with HIV can lay dormant in your body for years before it decides to be like, hey, I'm here. So that's why it is important to get tested.
Like, well, it's not just like, but some people who have herpes can not have an outbreak.
Yeah, they don't
for
have
years.
outbreaks, and then it's like
Randomly out of
boom,
nowhere.
here it
Yeah.
is, and then they spread it. So definitely take control of that. I know before America had shut down, my church used to do the HIV testing where literally you could get tested during the middle of service. And even though I had just got tested like a couple weeks ago, I was like, okay, go ahead, swab my cheek, do whatever.
They have home kits.
Yes. So
if you look online, I'm gonna get the website out when I get to it. But they have self-home kit testings that you can do, as well as I stated again, like Maryland Department of Health. They test for a lot of stuff there, as well as you don't necessarily have to go to your doctor. If you're scared that your doctor, you don't want your doctor to know what's going on. I mean, you can go.
Even though that's the person that you should leave.
I mean, some of y'all ain't got doctors. I get it. I don't understand.
I gotta get new primary care. That sucks. I liked her.
Yeah.
She's leaving.
And that's another thing too. Like, if you have a primary care provider and you feel like they're not giving you the best care, please try and find another one.
I will say this: Black people, brown people, please be careful when y'all going to a doctor of non-color, because we do not get the treatment that we're supposed to get all the time. They don't take a lot of things that we say to them seriously. Me personally, all of my doctors, except for, well, my dental hygienist, she used to be, but all of my doctors except for my dental hygienist are either black or they are brown.
Yes.
And women, I definitely, no shade to the men gynecologists, but I just personally don't like going to male gynecologists because I feel like everything that he gives you is by the books. And there are some things that, you can ask your doctor as a woman, and she may be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's normal. Other women may go, the man might, it's a lot of textbook things.
Yeah. I would say when picking your gynecologist, we have some of them that don't deliver babies. They just are focused on the check. And so if you're dealing with someone who doesn't deliver babies, I would say switch.
Make sure. Now remember, y'all, it's a gynecologist, it's a OBGYN. So you have some that they are I can't remember what the big word is for the OBs, but they deliver babies as well as deal with vaginal health and reproductive health. But then, like you said, you have a just a gynecologist that they don't deal with the natal side or the baby side.
I always have picked a doctor that has delivered baby, just because I feel like you can probably assess things differently than somebody who just looks at people's cool carts all day.
That's why I had a male gynecologist. It was weird. But then I ended up getting a black female, and about to get another black female gynecologist. And the reason why I say that going to a woman as a woman is more comfortable, because I will give y'all a prime example. So I had asked a question where, and I don't have no problem saying this because apparently a lot of women deal with this, where when you eat seafood, okay, a lot of it, sometimes your lady bits smells like seafood. So I had asked the question. I was like, well, how come? And I asked her because I was watching the Braxtons, and Tamar had said the same thing, like she don't eat a lot of seafood because they don't need to be nothing like seafood. I literally asked this question, and she was just like, I have no answer for you, but you are not the first woman to come in here and ask that question. Now I figured out, basically what it is. It's just your pH balance is off. So as long as you drink anything that has some type of acidity, orange juice. I like
with
the lemon. I prefer pineapple juice or orange juice, or eat pineapples as I am eating the seafood, and then I don't have them issues. But that's why I like going to a female, because what can a man, like, I don't think a man can really give me, I don't know. But she literally was like, there's no scientific, like, I was like, well, if it's happening to multiple women, then there's something scientific. It's literally just your pH balance, but.
And it differs from person to person. It's just like when some people eat asparagus and their pee don't stink.
Yeah, because mine don't.
Do. That's why personally I love asparagus, but after I eat it, I'm not coming nowhere for a couple days. But hey, that's just me, because it felt like no matter what I do afterwards, it still like lingers. I'm like, bro, I can't do this. Not in public, not anywhere. No.
While I eat seafood, I try to make sure I eat some pineapples or something. Well, I'm gonna be minding my business for the next 24 to 48 hours.
But it is important to, one, find a doctor that you're comfortable with. And like, if you're, most of the time with your insurance, you can look at people's like background and see a picture of them before you pick
and you
them.
can see if they're board certified, if they're not board certified. Like, that's very important. I know we kind of got off topic, but it goes along with what we're.
Yes, because we are talking about health.
Yes. But
6 months through this year.
Yes.
Y'all got time. I will say, if you don't have health insurance right now, while Joe is still in there, please get in. Sign up. I think it's is it Maryland Health Connection for this state? I think it's Maryland Health Connection.
I only had it one time.
But I ain't gonna lie, that Obamacare, when Obama was in office, that Obamacare was A1, and that's what Joe tried to bring back. So make sure y'all look it up if you don't have a doctor right now. If you don't have health insurance. To go back to the HIV new cases, and again I state this is from 2018, ages 13 to 24, there were 7,891 cases.
I'm trying to tell y'all.
13 to 24. You pretty much just started fucking.
But the thing about that is, it's a lot of these young girls and young boys are messing with these older men and women, and these rapists, because that's what you are, that are pedophiles, that are sleeping with these young children, are knowingly giving these young children HIV. And I mean, like, it's really sad, because 13 years old and you're HIV positive?
Because, again, I stated new cases. These aren't people who were born with it, because we're going to talk about it later, but if a mother is pregnant and they are HIV positive, they can pass it to the child.
But there are also ways now with stem cell and all this other stuff where the child cannot get it. There's new medications and all these things that are coming out, but that number is really
alarmingly
shocking.
high.
7,000 cases from 13.
Listen,
Like, ew. I'm
so
getting a dog. I don't got time.
it almost doubles for ages 25 to 34, 13,491.
And I know that some of y'all like, well, it's like a million some people here. That's still a lot. That's still like I'll give you maybe less than 1% of the population, but that's still scary.
It's
because
saying that almost one out of every 8 people will either have it or will come in contact with somebody.
And when you talk about new cases, you know how long these people had this before they went and got tested, and the test came back that they had it. So now you have other people that these people may have gotten and came into contact with and have had sex or whatever, and now these people got it. So it's so many factors that come into play. Also, I will say this, ladies, please, at the nail salon, please watch them too, because I've seen a case where a young lady ended up catching HIV because she got cut by the equipment that they used in the salon, and they didn't properly sanitize the girl. I think the girl was like a virgin or something, so that's how she was able to trace it back to the nail salon, because she hadn't had sex in her life. And so
that BPE is important, and that I don't even want to I ain't gonna throw no business under the bus, but what Phyllis said, you need to really watch some of these salons and how they not only clean their equipment but their space.
Definitely.
Because that is like highly important, how you deal with, especially when you don't know the person and they happen to bleed somewhere. It's highly important that you treat it like it's contagious at all times.
Definitely. Because some of these new cases, everything isn't always sexually. So I don't want everybody to just be like, oh, it's really not. Because even in Arizona, okay, so I know y'all heard of the vampire facial things. So what the vampire facial is, Kim Kardashian, y'all love one to be, anyway, she started this. So what they do is they draw your blood out, and then they do something to the blood, and then they take the blood and they use the blood to put it back on your face. It's supposed to do something to your skin, whatever. So
I'm sorry, y'all couldn't see my face.
Yeah, like her face was like, what? So there was a spa in, I want to say, either Vegas or Arizona, somewhere over there, where the lady was, first of all, she wasn't licensed to do this procedure. And so she was using dirty syringes, dirty needles, and she infected people with HIV because what she was doing was she was taking the blood out of people, but then you're supposed to use that person's blood. So like if I'm going to get a vampire facial, they're going to take my blood from me and put my blood back on my face or whatever they're doing. But she wasn't doing that. She was like using other people's blood on other people and not sanitizing properly. And they had like, I want to say it was at least 20 new cases of HIV because of that. So that's why I say be ladies, men too, because men go get their feet, and be very like, you really have to watch and really pay attention, because you can get diseases from these salons and everything. Everything isn't always sexual, because everybody ain't out here living like that. So that definitely was an article. It happened earlier this year, and I was just like,
I don't think I would do anything that involves anybody having to extract blood.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. But it's really sad, because you go to get a routine, you get skincare, and then you come out with this life-altering disease. So,
love yourself. However you are, whatever you're going through, try some other skin routines. Love yourself, please.
yes, but definitely with these salons, they should be pulling out the packs. Now most of them put the little shower cap looking thing in the foot tub. So these are all things that you need to be looking for, because you can get anything. We ain't talk about HIV. Like, I've seen people get like athlete's foot because they didn't properly wash the tub behind someone else. And yeah, so,
and I think, like, so, even though people been getting pedicures for a while, they didn't really like change it to where they have the plastic over the thing
until like COVID.
I wouldn't say, well, where I was going was prior to COVID, but it still wasn't long enough where it should have been.
I would probably say, like, because there was one spot that I started going to, they were doing it. That was the first time I ever seen a spot. This was a spot.
I want to say it's been in the last 5 years. Ain't nothing longer than
that.
That
was
though.
Like 3 years ago, and it was the first time I seen it. I was like, oh, like, I didn't know that people were doing this.
Them upscale salons.
Yeah, and this is considered an upscale one. In Bowie, it was considered upscale, so they were doing that. So that was the first time I ever saw them put the little. It looked like a big shower cap to me that they that they put in the foot bath. Before you get your pedicure. And so now it's a lot more common, but now I go to a black-owned salon, and she uses plastic tub things. Like, they sit on like a heater thing, and she does everything, and then she just she can throw the their disposable little foot baths, so she can throw the whole thing in the trash. Yeah. And yeah, so I'm okay with that, and I watch her, she wipes down areas, whatever, and then every time. Now, there's another thing, because believe it or not, like, HIV is one of those things that's scary, because you can get it even doing the most innocent things, you know what I'm saying? It's not always something that's sexual. Even when you go and, this for ladies that get their nails done, they are supposed to change the little thing that they sand your fingers in with. They are supposed to put a new one on that wand every time they do somebody else's nails. Some of these salons don't do. When I found that out, I was like, oh no. And some of these salons do not do that. They will use the same one, the same sanding
90,
thing.
I would say it's pretty close to 90%.
Yes. And it's scary because those little things, when I know, like, the man that's watching this is probably like, what the hell? But when they are buffing out your nails and they use the little whatever, I've been cut by those before, so it's super scary, because it's like, and I've seen where they sanitize it and they pull it out. I've seen that, but it's still like scary, because like I've been cut with, like, my finger was bleeding, so but of course I don't go to them no more, but I'm just saying, like, when it comes to this virus and this disease, like, you have to be very, very careful, because it's truly not something that is just sexual. Like, when you go to them jobs and they give you that bloodborne pathogen training, you better pay attention.
Hey, shout out to parking planning, because we went through that training
every summer.
year.
Every summer.
Year we went through it.
Every summer. At every school that I've worked at, we have all done bloodborne pathogens training, to the point where I definitely probably don't need it no more. But
in my job, where paper cuts are, like, very common, I feel like that we should, because it's a lot of unsanitary people in there, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, but it's just that with this disease, like, it's definitely something to take seriously, and with the number for that age, for 13 and 20, like, y'all, that really bothers me.
Super high number. Our age bracket is double that, but the fact that it's starting at such a young age and having such a high number, because 55 and up, I'm gonna tell you, it's half of what the age bracket.
And let me tell y'all this too now. There's been studies that the STD and STI rates are going up in the 55 and older community, okay? And that's because they be messing with these young joints. And you know, then they go back to the retirement community, and you know they messing with Miss Ethel across the hall. So, so, so seriously, like it's crazy because it's just alarming to think like here we are 20 almost 30 probably 30 something years later since you know we've learned about this disease and or this virus, and it still runs rampant, and people are still out here not protecting themselves like they should. One thing about me, like if I'm dealing with somebody, like it's you and only you. I'm letting you know that, and if something comes up, y'all might see me on First 48. Some.
First 48, yeah.
Snapped.
Hey, y'all ever seen what Lisa Left Eye Lopez did?
Yeah, burned down houses.
I don't know. I ain't gonna still be in it though. I don't know where she was there. But
that's definitely but definitely have that conversation. I've had students who, their significant other didn't want to get tested, and I was like, baby girl, if you want to know your status, do it for you. But also
we ain't gotta do it together because I'm gonna know about me,
right? And that's a red flag for me, because if we're dating and you know we decide that we want to whatever, and I'm like, well, let's go get tested, and you like, no, I'm good. No, you're not. No,
you good somewhere,
you good,
but not with me.
Not over here. You know what I'm saying? So really take charge of that and of your health. But that rate is very high, and as an educator, it's just bothersome, because I've dealt with students who have come to me and they've talked to me. They've had STDs, and I don't know why the children be feeling so open to tell me about it, but
you created that safe space.
But I've had conversations with them. And I'm like, listen, and I don't play about stuff like that, because one thing I don't play about is my physical health, my mental health, and my money. Then the three things I don't play about. But when it comes to your sexual health, like that is something that's really, really important. Especially because even with HPV, even though our bodies make their own HPV, which they don't tell you that, but
it's a safe level.
Yes, it's not whatever. So that's, again, please be an advocate for yourself when it comes to especially your sexual health, because you want to feel safe. You want to feel safe with the person that you're dealing with, and you want to feel safe, you know,
and
whatever.
And if you go to a regular doctor, I'm telling you, because you can, once you get tested, and or even if you get blood work done, they have my chart. You can look at it. You can look at it with somebody that you trust.
Yeah, I got Kaiser. Kaiser just send you to.
Oh.
I had to curse them out, because one year they ain't send me my results. I said, hold on, wait a minute.
So, like, with my doctor's office, they have my chart where you can log in and you can see everything. If you don't understand something, you can call and request the doctor to go over your lab work with you. But it's highly important, because when I go through more of these statistics, because a lot of people think that only people who can get it is the gay community, which is false.
There's a
very,
documentary on Netflix. It's like 30 minutes, and it talks about HIV, AIDS. I actually showed it to my students. I'm that teacher. And it talked about how people had to come to the realization that this isn't a gay disease. Like, anybody can get this.
And it's highly important too, especially if you deal with somebody who's I know y'all gonna like try to beat me down when I say this, but somebody who's been incarcerated for a long time and they come home. Highly important. Okay, the jail testing, boop, skip over to jail, get them tested. They need to get tested again.
Okay. Them love at the lockup people.
So for I had somebody ask me because I've had this conversation before. So just to put it out there, the statistics for the transgender, from male to female, make up 1%, and female to male make up less than 1%. Black men make up 37%.
How is it we just...
Latino make up 30%, and white make up 27%. Um,
Mm-mm.
y'all can translate them statistics however
Like,
y'all want.
cause in my mind, I'm like, we always, as people of color, we always number one at everything. But black folk, we third in this country, y'all. We are not the one or the two. We the three. So, so I just be trying to understand. But keep going.
There were 15,820 deaths among adults and adolescents in 2018 due to HIV. And as I go about it further,
Cause I got some questions.
the only way that you can really
the adolescent
die from it is that means you were not taking care of yourself because they prescribe medicine when you're in stage 1 or 2. 'Cause once you get to stage 3, it's AIDS.
Yeah,
And
once it gets
I'm
full
going to go
blown
to that.
AIDS,
I'm going to go to that too. But I do want y'all to understand there is no cure, but it can be controlled. One thing I read that I really didn't,
unless your name Major
I really
Johnson.
didn't know was this virus came from a chimpanzee in Central Africa, and it has a whole nother name.
Horses have it.
Yeah, it has a whole nother name. And
Horses
like, so
carry HIV,
this
but
is going to sound fucked up, but
somebody was fucking a monkey. Go on and say it.
One,
Fucking a monkey.
stop fucking animals and stop eating these random animals. I don't think God made it intended for us because they say it may have been that somebody killed the monkey and ate the infected monkey. Bro.
But that doesn't even make sense because if it's a blood-borne pathogen, you eating the monkey is not going to... That don't even make sense.
So again...
Because everything don't always go straight to your blood system.
When y'all go visit these foreign countries...
That's not how the circulatory system works.
Stay in your lane.
Nah, but for real, there was a book because my aunt, she was a nurse for like 50 years, and she
Family full of them.
did some research, and she said literally that some animals carry them, and I read that horses carry HIV, but they don't affect them like it affects humans, and people are into bestiality. No, thank you.
Wow.
Shit. Wow. And people are literally having sex with animals and having sex with animals with no condoms, but I don't even know why you would want to have sex with an animal.
Yeah.
So yes, so
I'm going to go over some symptoms.
Yeah. Gross.
So guys, don't get scared when I say this and start thinking this is not just one of them things where you Google your symptoms and shit. It says it's common flu-like symptoms for 2 to 4 weeks after infected, but you can also be asymptomatic.
Yep, lay dormant in your body.
Right, but of course the flu-like symptoms: fever, chills, rash, night sweats, muscle aches, sore throat, fatigue, swollen lymph nodes, or mouth ulcers. Stage 1 is called the acute stage, but that's when you're highly contagious. So that's why it's important that you get tested on a somewhat normal basis if you have all these multiple partners, as do a lot of people throughout the DMV. Please get tested. There's no reason why Baltimore or Washington, D.C. should be in the top 5 cities. Stage 2 is the chronic stage, where you can be asymptomatic, where you no longer could have those symptoms because it's now reproducing at a lower level. And if you take the medicine that you were prescribed, it could stop you from moving to stage 3. And all this information is on cdc.gov when you look up HIV. Stage 3 is where they consider you to now have AIDS. Is where you're sick, they give a life expectancy of 3 years if you go without getting treatment. That's a very short time.
Yes.
And so let's say you're scared to get tested and you have it. In your mind, you think it's a possibility that you could because you have all these symptoms. You're very sickly. You are cutting down your life expectancy time now
Because you won't
get tested or get the help that you need. And it's the most severe phase behind stage 1 because stage 1 you can take it and you can give it to anybody and everybody very easily. I'm also going to go over the transmission and how you do it because I know a lot of people say a lot of ignorant shit.
You cannot get it from using a bathroom behind someone. You can't get it from.
That's like if you lived in a house and sis sat on the toilet and she was HIV positive. As long as she didn't bleed and you don't have an open sore, you're fine. Okay?
Yeah.
But you can get it from sex. I'm gonna tell you, a rare way from getting it from sex is oral sex.
But that requires the person to be some type of cut or something in their mouth. Yeah.
Or some other way. So we spoke on the pregnant, infected mothers, passing it along to their babies, sharing needles or syringes. The bodily fluids that can be transmitted are, if you work in the medical industry, mishandling infected bodily fluids at work, which would be blood, semen. Note, it's cum and the pre-cum. Both.
Ain't no pull-up games.
So, rectal fluids, vaginal fluids, and breast milk are the only fluids.
Can't you get it, and I know it's like rare, like in your eye? Like, if it can be transmitted through your eye?
Yeah, and it's really rare, though. It's like if somebody's sweat was to, like, drip in your eye, or if a blood, like, it was something, like, really rare that I read. It was a really rare moment.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It's a serious conversation, but
I'm sorry.
Something just happened in the studio.
Studio technical difficulties. If you can see it on my live, okay. I don't like when shit falls near my face. Clearly. But it cannot get transmitted through ticks and mosquitoes. Oh, no, it looks like it's changed. It says not through saliva, tears, or sweat. So, the only other way I could think of is if there's a cut or open sore and someone. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can I get it from hugging and shaking hands? I remember having this conversation with people in fucking middle school, asking them ignorant ass questions.
Instagram, what is? Bruh.
You won't get it from sharing dishes or from the air. If you need information on where you can get tested at, it is gettested.cdc.gov. Or you can call 1-800-232-4636. The key things really are to eat healthy regularly. Don't be skipping meals. Just make sure that you eat healthy, exercise, workout, because I said earlier what the leading causes of death for black men are, and high blood pressure is really high for some of us are getting close to that 35 mark. So the 35 to 64-year-olds are 50% more likely in the African American community to have high blood pressure. So please take care of yourself and get tested. It's highly important. I don't want to keep drilling y'all with facts and everything. There are a lot of things that are coming up in the weeks to come. The events of summer is finally here, guys. We're still practicing social distancing.
We outside, but safely.
Friday, I felt like wasn't nobody outside, but everybody was outside because it was traffic. But I couldn't find I couldn't find nobody. So I don't know if y'all had curfews or something. I said that on Facebook. I don't know if y'all had curfews or y'all in relationships and y'all just part time outside. But I do plan to be outside a lot this summer. I need a tan.
Listen,
that's first and foremost.
I've been at the pool 2 days.
I
all
definitely
weekend.
need a 10. But I'm gonna go over a couple of events as we begin to wrap up. I'm gonna give Phyllis a minute to get her final thoughts together as I go over the events that we have. Well, I can't say the events that are going on throughout the DMV over the next few weeks. One, I do want to do shout outs real quick too. Shout out to Mr. Cool who was here from Channel Cool. He has done a lot of support. He has given us a lot of support.
Definitely a shout out.
Prior to and after him being here, he's still giving us a lot of support.
And me and him didn't even beef while he was here. See?
And we also talked about doing some future collaborations together on our side and on his side. If y'all don't follow him on YouTube, go subscribe to his channel, as well as if you don't subscribe to our channel yet, you need to go do that.
Yeah, go do that, because Instagram definitely hated on me twice today. So sorry guys, there will be no IGTV of this one on my page today. Sorry.
It is on my page. I did start. You probably missed all of 10 minutes on my page. Well, I shouldn't say my page. So this is not my personal page. I just post from the podcast page live. Also, another podcast that I want to shout out is Unpleasant Thoughts Podcast. My cousin and his friends. If you don't know, there's a lot of C Pleasant motherfuckers on there. That's where they got
Makes
Unpleasant
sense
from. Yeah, so Unpleasant Thoughts Podcast, you can follow them as well on YouTube. We're working out some dates to get them in the studio, and when I tell y'all, be prepared when they come. Like, if you laugh too hard, and some people when they laugh real hard, they gotta pee and shit. Yeah, so y'all gonna have to be prepared.
Yeah, that's me. I'm getting old.
Y'all gonna have to prepare for that because shit gets real whenever my cousin's in the building anywhere. So I said I was gonna do all of these events. I'm gonna run through them real quick. This Saturday, the holiday weekend, July 3rd, DC Vibe Band will be at 8131 Georgia Avenue in Silver Spring. That is the fire station from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Shout out to Pretty Pampered Queens Auto Club. They are doing a meet and greet at Anacostia Park on July 31st from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. They're going to have food, music, and games. You can go meet those ladies. Also, I noticed over this weekend, they started posting a lot of concert dates. Whoop whoop. I'm excited because, last year I really wanted to do concert and shit was still shut down. So they also put out the date for the National Cannabis Festival. It's August 28th. It's going to have Method Man and Redman as the headliners with Young M.A. And, of course, Backyard Band is going to be there. You can go to nationalcannabisfestival.com. So, October 2nd sounds far away. It's only 3.5 months. It's not even 3.5 now. It's like 3. Broccoli City Festival is back on Saturday, October the 2nd at RFK Stadium. The headliners, they're going to have Lil Baby, Moneybagg Yo. Don't shoot me for saying her name wrong, y'all. I think her name is Snow Allegra. I think.
I don't know
That's
who
how
that
you say
is.
her name. She sounds a lot like Sade when she sings. If you're looking for a basketball camp or something, well, it's not really necessarily a basketball camp, but for a league, a summer league for your child, if they're in between the 2nd and 4th grade, Little Hoopers Mini Summer League is by Rhythm Dribble. They're hosting it this year, July 10th through August 1st. Game will be played on Saturday and Sunday at Little Boys and Girls Club. I have posted that on my page. If you need the information, just hit me. There's a couple pop-up shops coming up July 31st from 1 to 5. Middle River. It's a little bit far. It's Baltimore County. But Real Time when the show is having a pop-up shop at 900 Bowley's Quarter Road in Middle River. from 1 to 5. August 14th, SOA to X Rated. I have their second annual summer skate jam, 1 p.m. until. They're going to have a fish fry, drinks, and more. They're going to have several DJs on site. That is going to be in 1900 Anacostia Drive at the Skate Pavilion. On Sunday, July 18th from 12 to 8, South Lawn Park. B. Michelle's Fun in the Sun. They're going to have free backpacks for back to school, as well as 30 plus vendors with moon bounces, face painting. It's basically family fun. Make sure y'all bring your kids out. This is the next upcoming pop-up shop. Girls Boss pop-up shop lawn party. They're still looking for vendors. It's Sunday, July 11th from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. All of these things will be posted on the podcast page. The Girl Boss pop-up shop will be in Charles County Fairgrounds. Family fun coming up starting on July 1st. It's Carnival at Severna Park from the 1st through the 10th. I'll be posting that information, as well as the Edgewater Carnival is going to be from the 13th through the 25th of July. I think that I've run through beyond enough things to do over the next couple of weeks. Tonight, if you're free, What Band will be at Aqua from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. We will not be in the studio next week because it's a holiday. Fearless said she's going to leave me.
I'm going on vacation, guys. I'm only going to be gone for a week. We outside.
Are you going to be back for the Sunday after that?
I will confirm that before the end of the week is over. I don't know if I'm coming back on Saturday or Sunday.
That means that I might have a standing guest. I did put somebody on standby, but I don't want them to get used to being in your spot.
They ain't gonna take no spot now. You know.
Shots fired.
You can come sit in the chair, but don't get comfortable. I'm just saying.
I feel like he gonna stir up a lot of trouble anyway.
That's fine. And I'ma stir the pot. I want all the smoke, all 2021. Lord.
Y'all was just cool. Don't say stir the smoke.
Listen, I need to go on vacation, y'all. So that's why I'll be vacationing.
Well, I'm gonna let you go ahead and do your wisdom of the week.
All right, so as we talk today about again, y'all know how we are about mental, physical, emotional health. I'ma just say this: go get tested. Like, simple as that. Don't be scared, because it's something that you need to know. Like, you really need to know your status, and it's not trying to scare anybody or make you feel some type of way, but as y'all can see, based on the numbers and the statistics that we talked about, the HIV AIDS rate is still going up. And I know with the pandemic, there hasn't been a lot of talk about it and a lot in reference to getting tested, but definitely take control of your health. You don't live forever. You're not young forever. So definitely take control of your health, and you can start anytime, tomorrow, today, right now. Definitely take control of your health. You know, we got 6 months left in this year, so I hope y'all had a decent first 6 months. I did. You know, a lot of new beginnings. So, you know, get prepared for those next 6 months. So that's why I say getting tested and knowing your status is a great way to prepare yourself for the next 6 months of this year. Okay. So just get tested. Know your status. That's where I'm at for this week. Y'all be blessed in these streets.
Thank y'all. Look, we're gonna try to grab the show before Fearless Swagger goes out of town. We're gonna see how it goes, because I'm trying to get a guest. There's somebody who I want to have to expand more on the topic of HIV because she is living and surviving with it. And she's already agreed to come. I just have to make sure that all the dates and everything match up. Wisdom of the week, word of the week. One, stay hydrated because it's definitely about to be hot the next couple of days. Okay.
We outside.
Mind your business.
Drink your water and mind your business.
No, that's not my word of the week, but no, for real. Stay
Drink your
hydrated,
water, mind your business.
business.
And get tested.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me is make sure that the people you have in your circle are rowing with you and not against you. I don't even think I should indulge in. I think I'm gonna just leave it and set it there. There are people around you who can only fake but for so long. But
it's a leak in the boat.
They don't like when you surpass them, you surpass their levels. They want you to stay on the level that they think that you're supposed to stay at. It's not how life works. Make sure that you're chasing after your goals and not after somebody else's goals. That's all I got for y'all. We appreciate y'all support. Thank
y'all for watching.
Us.
Y'all can catch the replay on the DMV Vibes Instagram, YouTube, Facebook Live, because y'all know Instagram did me dirty and cut me off twice today. So, sorry guys.
Look, I think going forward, I'm just gonna let Fearless take over the live for the DMV Vibe Podcast Instagram. But we're gonna talk about it soon.
Okay, I'm all right with that.
We thank y'all for joining us. Appreciate the support.
Yes, thank y'all for the support. I appreciate y'all.
Even though we all celebrated Juneteenth as we should, we're gonna enjoy this holiday and this extra day off too. And we'll see y'all next time.
All right, see y'all.